Sup gamers, Rainy Potato here with the best builds for the Jester in Darkest Dungeon 2. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day. The Jester is a nifty utility hero and stress healer with a variety of playstyles ranging from DOTs to debuffs to big DPS. His best path far and away is Virtuoso. It's literally just Jester plus with increased speed and HP, passive team stress resist, while losing some dot resist. He has two distinct builds, both using this path, one movement-based and one finale-based. Let's start with my favorite Jester build, the Finale Nuke. You run Encore as the first phase of the loop. You equip Solo as the second phase, and Finale as the third turn nuke. For the rest of the kit, I always put on Inspiring Tune as the best single-target stress heal in the game, and round out the kit with Battle Ballad or Play Out, though I basically never play these. You could theoretically play Razor's Wit if you want an attack, or Echoing March if you feel like it has value, but for the most part, this fifth skill is untouched. The build is a very tight loop, with Encore upgraded. You can use Encore, Solo, Finale in succession and never have to worry about cooldowns. They'll always line up. This is a pure rank 4 class, and the movement doesn't disrupt the team because of the alternating days and speed tokens, so you can run this with literally any team comp, and with Tune you don't even need another stress healer, so it opens up your potential comps quite a bit. One hero that really excels with Jester is Seraph Path Vestal, as you can Encore her for an early consecration, get both consecrations up round 1, and get the strength consecration in rank 1 for your finale. For trinkets, you can make use of the speed-based sprawl trinkets, Snappy Swig, and Enlightening Element. This will give you dodge every turn and crit for your big finale. Smoldering Hymnal is also good to get the strength for your finale. This build is elite against every lair boss, since Finale can nuke any rank. For Act bosses, it's still pretty strong, but loses some steam against Acts 2, 3, and 4 because of the potential block tokens neutering your finale. For Mastery, Encore always has to be an N1 upgrade. It's crucial to the loop. Finale is also a core upgrade, ideally by second in to make your nukes more consistent. Otherwise, I don't care about the other upgrades. Just get the rest if you end up with Mastery. The second Virtuoso build is movement-based. You use your 2 movement combo generators, Fade to Black and Razor's Wit. I still keep Encore on, it's eternally useful. Inspiring Tune stays on your bar for stress relief. The last skill is usually either Harvest or Slice Off. Harvest does more damage against trash mobs, getting AoE bleed as well as double stripping tokens. Slice Off is a solid skill versus bosses, especially upgraded with the Vaughn application. It doesn't really matter which one you pick because this skill is an afterthought. Your movement skills are core. This build is achievable for beginners since 4 of the 5 skills are base unlocks and you can just skip Encore. Otherwise, this build I mostly like if I plan to pick up the General's Immobilized trophy, so I can lock myself into rank 3 and spam Fade to Black, which is stronger than Razor's Wit, especially when upgraded for the combo. I also will run this if my team requires combo to be good, such as with a Leper. The only requirement is that your back row be flexible, so you can't say run a Surgeon Plague Doctor with the setup because you'll force her to rank 4 too much. For trinkets, with the same Virtuoso speed, you pick up the same sprawl-based trinkets. This build is less strong than Finale against most lair bosses, especially against the Librarian, but is still stronger than most other heroes, especially with Encore. I often switch this build against Act bosses, especially in Acts 2 and 4 where I often pick up the Immobilized trophy, and both those fights spamming blind is a powerful strategy, usually better than having to mess around with Finale against lots of token generation. Since the Finale build only requires 2 upgrades, one of which this build uses, it's not a huge investment to swap here when you're ready. Fade to Black is a mandatory early upgrade to get the combo, Slice Off if you want a boss to get the Vaughn, and of course Encore should always be early, though not always N1 with this build since you're usually moving instead of always spamming Encore turn 1. Jester's other paths are absolute trash, but we'll talk a little about them anyways. Soloist is his bleed path that also gives damage, while nuking his already fragile HP and slowing him down. You can go 2 ways with this path, either pure bleed build, which is inferior build for the Jester, or Finale build, which technically does more damage, but again, you lose all the benefits of Virtuoso, though you do get your nuke a turn early. For bleed build, you just stand in 3 with both Harvest and Slice Off, pair it with Encore and Inspiring Tune because they're always universally good. The last skill literally doesn't matter, usually just Battle Ballad or Play Out just to be there. The bleed build, frankly, doesn't have the output for the risk you get with the HP, If everything goes right and you get the Shroud Bleed trophy, good luck not dying with Soloist here. And you get Hero Trinket, Severed Finger, along with another Bleed trinket, you can output a lot of damage. Though Slice Off isn't really great single target damage, so once Harvest is gone in boss fights, you're really not doing that much less than Finale build would do. Again, you really need the Bleed trophy to shine here, but there are no rank 4 bleeders, so you need to team up with another bad path, Berserker Hellion, and another dumb path, Melee Highwayman, to take full advantage. Just don't do it. It's pretty mediocre against all bosses, though with the perfect setup, you can melt the Act 1 boss with Harvest. The alternate build for Soloist outputs a bit more damage, but it's still pointless compared to Virtuoso. You run the same skills as Virtuoso's Finale, Solo, Finale, Encore, Tune, and Battle Ballad, meaning you ignore the bleed component altogether, since you can't actually be in rank 3 with Solo Finale. The Finale build is similar to Virtuoso, but because of your lowered speed, you can actually solo on turn 1, then nuke at the start of round 2, so this is pretty strong at least against trash mobs and deleting an enemy early. Then you Encore on turn 3, and start the cycle again. Unfortunately, the extra damage doesn't really make up for the lowered HP for me, but this is the preferred way to play Soloist if you have to. Since you no longer benefit from Sprawl Trinkets, you're just looking for flat damage and maybe HP. This does good damage to all lair bosses, but with the AoE all lair bosses provide, this is very dangerous overall for them. And same with Act bosses, where you're even worse because Finale gets neutered with tokens by many of the bosses. Finally, we have Intermezzo, which is terrible. Here, all your song skills apply bleed, while your Play Out and Battle Ballad give extra tokens on use, and Echoing March also gets a bleed component, doing very, very slow damage over time. For this build, I still like Encore and Tune, they're just too good. Then I usually run Battle Ballad, and Solo and Finale so I can do at least some damage. Solo does do bleed, which makes it easier to kill enemies with death blow resistance. You can run a pure Intermezzo, bleed, and swap out Solo Finale for Play Out and Echoing March, but I think it's just much worse. Though if you're running Finale, then you should just run Virtuoso. You can swap out Encore for Play Out, but I find Encore much stronger even if you're limited with only one of the 2 buff skills. For this to be good, with constant team bleed, you need a DOT heal. Plague Doctor is still the best, but Runaway is actually usable here as a primary healer, and she's much more mobile as well. Up front, you need flexible DPS to take advantage of the constant movement buffs, so something like Man-at-Arms Highwayman combo works well. I find this far too slow to be good, especially since the tokens are random. In DD2, I prefer all my heroes be capable of damage rather than just big buffing one ally, and it's especially bad against Act bosses because super buffing one DPS can backfire when they use their own defensive tokens to stifle you, or in some cases straight up yoink your tokens. I just don't run this. Overall, the Jester has a variety of different playstyles, though only one real path, Virtuoso, which is among the best in the game. If your team has a need for a back row stress healer and major DPS, or some combo generation, and it always does, this is a great pick. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. I post new videos every day.